when print was the name of the game. And then you became a very active contributor during the COVID period. And this, when Pete Matthews, one of the founders of Realtair, said, let's get Matty Lahood, I thought to myself, he's the perfect guy because you, Matty, have built the business. The agency was always built on the premise that we needed technology to complement what we do because we were going to move away from some of the traditional things that happened in real estate, including just the office shop front that, on the main road of every suburb. That was not your model. Is that right, Matty? When you set up your model, like geography and having shops was not what it was about.
No, that's right, Tom. Look, it's quite funny though. Like COVID made us look like we knew what we were doing in effect. But look, the idea, jokes aside, was look. I thought there was, looking at the agent's journey, most of their time. And I managed a lot of agents over the years, as you know, and a lot of high performers. Most of them, I noticed, were sort of distracted when they came in the office. And most of their best work was done outside the office. So I'd dock in with them like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. They'd say, look, we've been out, we've run 5 buyers, we've listed 2 properties. And sort of a lot of the time going back to the office was actually a distraction. So they'd only come back if they'd left brochures or they needed to photocopy contracts. And now with tech, obviously, what we're talking about, that just freed our model we designed was how do we keep the agent out in the marketplace? Now, some people say the agency is a work from home model. It's actually not. I'm actually promote the agents to work from their community rather than actually at home. But I mean, that for lack of not sort of a position in terms of where you work from, like I've got agents working, they go run buyers, then go back to a cafe, meet vendors there, then go to their houses, whatever it may be. But they're out in the community because, it's a high profile business, this. So the more you keep yourself out in the marketplace, and tech's allowed us to do that, I guess. So we had to get the tech side right from the get-go. And there's been huge amounts of different things come in the last 6 years since we started the agency. And it's rapidly changed again since COVID. So, yeah, even from the reporting side, Tom, for the management and leadership team, because I've got leadership team all over the country. So for them to dock into one area, we're all looking at the same, I guess, markers, KPIs, however you want a scorecard, GCI reports, EBITDA numbers, all of those are in one spot for our group. So that's something we put together where everyone can access it in the leadership team.
I want to ask you, Matty, today is called Tech Tuesday.
Yep.
And we do it on a Tuesday with a theme being tech in real estate. But when I want to talk about tech, Matt, I don't want to talk about tech that's going to make you lose money. I don't want to talk about tech that's bleeding edge. I want to talk about cutting edge tech that complements what agents do, which is list and sell property. So, Matty, first question, how has tech changed the way you market and sell properties in the real estate industry? What are the main
Tom,
things?
Well, that's really because in terms of marketing, obviously, the social media side of the tech is one, and being able to have that a lot of it now sort of automated, feeding from your CRM, etc. That's one massive thing. Obviously, being able to work like mobile. I think in terms of how you market properties, like you could be at a property and literally, obviously, for those that are in the legal parts where you need a contract before you promote, you can do quite clever things immediately now on social media and get a listing onto the market a lot quicker. And I think with tech, what it's enabled agents to do is to shorten the process of the property coming on the market and shorten the potential future days on market because of the length that we had to go to before about like photocopying contracts and all the old school things. I know there's people all over the country watching this. So everyone's got different laws, but certainly in some places you can't promote until you've got contracts. Signed on glass, I think, gave us a huge advantage to market. So, you're signing an agency agreement in an owner's lounge room effectively, or a Form 6 or whatever part of Australia you're listening to this from. And then all of a sudden you're pretty much taking photos and can get buyers by buying, matching and, all the tech that we've got within 24 hours to come back and look at these properties subject to your legal requirements. So that's the listing and the marketing side. The selling, I think, is fantastic. Like, I remember the old days running around, trying to find a local shop that would allow me to do some photocopying because someone left a contract behind in the office, and we're trying to, you probably remember those days, Tommy. Well, that's all, sign on glass. Like, what a marketing, piece that is from a tech perspective, to be able to say to a client, look, I can have a client watching your auction in China and then signing the contract on glass and transferring the funds immediately, and I can watch it all happening as the hammer goes down while they're live streaming your auction and logging in from wherever they may be in the world. Like, who would have thought 10 years ago that was possible?
Well, Matty, I clearly remember in 1990, my boss, John Alsnet, from the professionals at Padstow, called me in and he said, Tom, I've got amazing news. We've just got this machine, and this machine, we're going to put paper in the machine, and it's going to come through the other end, and they're going to see it. You don't have to go, because I used to be the young kid that would have to go to the post office and take the mail there each day.
Yeah.
And he said to me, you won't have to do that anymore, Tom. We're going to be sending it. And he goes, this is called a facsimile machine, right? And then I still remember, Matty, I said to him, John, I get what you're saying, but where does the piece of paper come out? And John Alsnet goes, oh, it comes out the other end of another fax machine. And I said, oh, well, that basically means we can only use it with people that have got fax machines, right? And he goes, it's a good point, because the more people that had the fax machines, the more you could use it. But that was in 1990. Matty, think about it now.
I know.
We don't worry about folding letters and putting them in envelopes and putting stamps on there, mate. As you said, mate, you can go off. You can go off, be talking to a person on the phone. You could be on the road, right, going to buy yourself some lunch. You book an appraisal. You within moments of getting the appraisal, Matty, you can actually have them sent a report. Say, I'll see you at 5 o'clock. Before I come out, I'm sending you a simple plan that help you understand a little bit about who we are and what we do, which is called the digital price update. Which, I know a lot of companies have got them, Matty. And I use this question. Simple is hard at a leadership level. The agency, you have a simple plan to ensure their agents grow their business. And it relates to price updates. So what I just talked about, I just introduced you to the digital price introduction, which is like a pre-listing kit.
Yeah.
Right? But you guys have got this. You guys have got this obsession with price updates to your client base. Tell us more about it.
Well, Tommy, you're right. What you said before, simple is keeping things simple. It's always been something that I've been like really focused on, keeping things like literally black and white, right? Because, it's easy to get a lot of things and confuse the process in the space that we operate in. But look, in terms of these price updates, like how incredible, like how many owners are sitting there, Tom, today, and they're not even thinking of where their value is or was. A lot of them think, or they might have an idea roughly, but when you send them an automated price update, that's going to create conversation, isn't it? So it's effectively what you're doing is you're filling the funnel, connecting with people. And we know at the agency, I guess, that agents to achieve their goals, if they're doing effectively an average of 7 price updates roughly a week to their database, 3 days a week, 48 weeks of the year, they're going to be way ahead of somebody who's not doing that. So there's going to be a chance in that amount of people that we're reaching and connecting that somebody's going to do something because they didn't think that value was there. That's definitely happened since COVID, where there's been something that's really accelerated well since COVID, where you physically sort of couldn't go in and do that,
Okay, so Susan is brought up. I think I'm not quite sure, Susan. You brought in a survey here. Well, that could be Realtair doing it.
That's me. Matter. Yes, that's.
Okay. So the question there, Susan, is: do you automate your price updates? And the answers are coming in, and the answer is 85% at the moment. 83% is no. So, Matty, price updates. Can I ask you, SMS or email? What's best?
Look, Tommy, depends on your history, but I think both are pretty good. To be frank, you could use both. But I do agree with your audience. I think it takes away the it feels very personal when it's not a spray and pray. I don't like, and I say to my agents all the time, don't use a spray and pray method, like spray stuff out of the market and pray someone's going to call you. So that just, the audience are agreeing with that. This is strategic. It's actually very strategic where you are, the price updates, you're going direct to the vendor. They're feeling like it's a purpose for them. Future seller, it could be future sellers bought another property. It could be someone in your pipe that you appraised. It could be just a seller one of your past clients that is not even thinking of selling. I think I told you this, Tom, 35% of Ben Collier's sales last year, one of our top agents, came from listings that were never on the market in his own database. So, in terms of him not necessarily using this tech, but in his strategy, the tech could make it easier for him. But he was more of I'm going to pick up the phone and let them know, did you know your home is worth this? And would you sell it if I had a buyer for it? Because I think I've got a buyer right now that will buy your property. So just a sideline to the tech. What about all the people following this now? Imagine if you could go into your database and you've got a hot buyer, but you don't have a listing, but a property that hot buyer is looking for is actually in your own database right now that you sold to them 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years ago. So 30% of his sale, upwards of 3 million in GCI, was created from him going, hang on a minute, I know an owner in my database. So the price updates will bring them to the field, but there is a way he does it in the form of direct calling, because he's got the strategic type of approach that he does. But imagine that as a standalone. We know that that's going to happen, right?
Matty, the more I'm talking to you today, the more I realise your whole model. You were sort of, COVID fast forwarded everything. I get that.
Yeah.
And
COVID-19 made us look good.
COVID-19 made you look good, made it look like it was all a strategy that had worked out perfectly for you.
I'll claim that.
And by the way, I'd worked at enough organisations and I'd been involved with enough businesses to understand how many companies wanted to create a technical transformation. They paid big bucks, sometimes $500,000 to a CTO. The CTO wasn't able to make the change. And then before you know it, COVID does it, right? COVID did what the CTO couldn't do.
Yeah,
right?
That's very true. But even pitch flow sign, and I know Realtor is a Realtor thing, but pitch flow sign, what a genius operation to just work through the workflow. Pitch for the listing, workflow, then sign on glass. Tom, I think what tech's done, and certainly done for us, and I've been really pushing our team to do this, is not necessarily, it's changed the role of what, say, an admin / an assistant, associate agent would do 5 years ago to now. It's freed that person up to be more dollar productive. And I think that's one of the big things that I'd like to share with your audience is that, yes, people say they have an admin assistant. Now, I often sit in a lot of meetings with our agents and new agents coming in, and I look at their structure, and the first thing I say to them, you're not using tech enough to free up your team to be more dollar productive. And it's probably one of the biggest changes we make when we see agents thinking they're not using the tech, or certainly some of the tech we're using, to be able to, if you're using, say, Realtor, for example, is a good one, and all the back-end systems of a lot of these CRMs now, you don't need to be, doing all the old style, filing and compliance and everything that was done previously. This system set up correctly can give back an associate team member 50% of their week. Some people are saying, I don't need an assistant. Now, for me personally, I don't think that's the right move. I wouldn't use the tech to make someone redundant. I would use the tech to create more business.
Love it. I love it. Mate, you guys are, for the record, you do use Real TED, don't you?
We do. Yeah, we're big supporters of it. Yeah, I've had a good association with Pete Matthews. Some may know we actually acquired Pete's actual real estate business, but Real TED was being born then. So I had a bit of a look behind the curtains when he was doing it, but it was way off where it is now. It's incredible what he's done and the team. And I've watched the skill changes of it and the way that they've changed the skill levels of how it operates now. It's very simple. It's effective. I think it's market leading. You know, there's a whole lot. We've combined it with other tech as well. So it's not just that tech only. We've combined it with other tech in our business, but it's definitely plays a big part.
Because, mate, the agency is a tech builder and a tech interrogator. I mean, you integrate with various partners and aim to have the best tech. I mean, it's other partners that I'm involved with in tech, which include, and I think Agent Box, you're Agent Box, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we've been Agent Box from the startup, from the get-go. And they've developed huge since, along with us as well. And they've been very open with things that we've shared with them. They've been very good. All our partners have been exceptional. I've got nothing but praise for everyone we're working with. And again, I worked out very quickly, Tom, I ain't no tech person, right? And I worked out our group of people, they're very good at listing and selling and managing and coaching and mentoring. Leave the tech to the smart tech people rather than trying to build something ourselves. There's a huge amount of off-the-shelf products, things that are coming in that people are a lot smarter than us. This is just from my personal point of view. So I'd rather outsource to smarter people than try and be smart and swim. We like to swim in our own lane in our business. We've got people good at what they do. Stick to that. That's where the dollars are made. And bring in the smarter people and have a look, but keep your eyes open to the tech too that's coming in. As you said quite rightly before, I could load 5 more systems up and just be working to pay the bills off every month. But you've got to find what works for your structure and really use it. Don't put it in and don't use it. I think that's one of the biggest problems is if you've got this tech and you're not using it, you might as well not have it.
Yeah, well said, because I reckon we're at the stage now, Matty, where it's not necessarily the adoption of new tech, but the execution of your current tech stack that you've got, you know, getting that implemented, you know. Yet there's a lot of people that are paying the subscription fees on a lot of products, a lot of tech products, right? But, mate, I know that you guys integrate with your own tech, and I know that it helps your agents a lot. I know it helps your agents.
Yeah, the reporting funnel to the sales leaders as well, to be able to look for the dark, shine the torch in the dark corners for the agents to help them see the light, which is only formed from us knowing, you know, like list to sell ratios, strike rates, clearance rates, you know, pitch to list ratios, all these things you'll be able to got at your hands now. The other thing, Tom, I wanted to talk about, one of the forgotten parts of the industry, we're always sales is the glamour part, but look at the tech in leasing, like things like flick it over. I don't know if you've seen that before, but flick the lease over the owner from the agent to the tenant to be able to sign on glass and get back. That's cut out hours and hours and hours. A lot of the tenants are busy, they're at work, they can't get there, the timelines. Years ago, you had to, you know, get couples to be coming in after hours to sign leases. Everyone's all done on glass is just amazing. And then the landlord to confirm the lease, confirmation that they're happy to lease it, all done within literally 30 minutes process from start to finish. Like, remember the old days of signing a lease, photocopying it, getting it typed up, sitting down, going through it. Like, that's taken probably a 2 or 3 hour process down to 15 to 30 minutes.
And it is quite extraordinary the times that we're living, but isn't it ironic, Matty, that you've got two groups of agents. You got the ones that are tech junkies, and then they forget about sale, sales, right? It's all tech. Then you've got others. Oh no, mate, no, I've been good, mate. Been doing this 40 years. No, mate, no. eyeball to eyeball. You know what I notice? It's the people that merge the best of the two extremes.
Totally.
It's that hybrid agent that turns around and says, you know what? Of course, talking to people is the name of the game. But how do I actually do a large volume of sales? I've got to be talking to a lot of people. I've got to be nurturing a lot of data. I've got to be seeing a lot of appraisals. I've got to be giving people useful information. And how do I do it and keep alive? Well, how can I bring technology to help me scale and have more leverage, right? It doesn't mean I'm not going to talk to people, but it means that I'm going to find ways to be able to nurture a bigger group of people. And do you agree, Matt? It's that high tech, high touch type agent that wins in this market.
Definitely, Tom. I think you are right. Like, there's two camps for sure, and I've got some of the old camps that in our crew too. I've been moving over slowly but surely into. But there's a great saying around. I don't know where it came from. Someone famous. If you don't like change, you're going to like extinction even less. I think that's one we should all stop and think about for a couple of minutes, because, I mean, you know, tech's putting people, you know, like in front of more clients. It's putting tech speeding up the process. You know, when I started, my first boss took me up to the news agency up in Randwick. I started in Randwick, and he said, let's go and buy you a card box. Now, a lot of the people watching this wouldn't even know what that was. It was an REXEL, and I still remember it had a lock on it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
And it had cards, and we had A buyers, B buyers, and C buyers on these cards. And I had a red pen for the ones, the A's, a green one for the B. Then I had vendors, right? New listings, they were A's, B's, and C's, right? And then we used to sit there, and he said to me, hold the box. I said, why am I holding it? He said, there's your future hopes and dreams in that box there, and don't let it go. And I had to walk around like this box like I had like $1 million in it. And we'd calculate the then GCI, which is probably today, like it was 50 grand or something back then. I was 19 I was actually. So that's 40 or 30 years ago for me, 32 years ago. And I remember carrying this box. He said, don't let that box go, because all your hopes and dreams are in that box. And to think, like, do you remember the Rexel card box?
Yeah.
And it had the lock. I had the lock, I had the key and everything. I had a second key just in case I lost the first one.
Matty, we got robbed at one of the offices I worked at. I think it was the one at Padstow. We got robbed. Came in the next day, and one of the secretaries, you know, we called them secretaries back then. One of the secretaries,
that's right.
One of the secretaries goes, "Oh no, petty cash box might have been pinched." And I remember the boss at the time said, he goes, "Stuff the petty cash box. It's all the old appraisals. Make sure they haven't gone." I mean, that's where the money is, isn't it, Matty?
That's right. But to think like how you could, you know, an agent back then 30 years ago, and, you know, like doing the door knocks, and to think what if you had that back when we were fired up, and all the tech today. I think just got to be careful, Tommy, that the tech doesn't make us lazy too today, because there's nothing like hand-to-hand combat in the marketplace, belly to belly, face to face. The tech will help a lot of that, but people want to see you. People want to shake hands. They want to have a coffee. They want to tell you their stories. Older clients want to have a cup of tea and a biscuit with you. They want to tell you, they want to show you their war wounds. You know, there's no, like, tech will never replace that, I don't think. And real estate will always be done, you know, your auctions, Tommy. I mean, yeah, there's online auctions. Yeah, there's automated auctions. Yes. But you and I both know, and I've watched you every Saturday in and out, you know, breaking records. That's not like that hand-to-hand emotional connection. Still got to remember it's very valuable part, even though it is Tech Tuesday.
So, Matty, can I ask, by the way, Susan, in the background, just in case people are on here are not current Realtair customers, but are considering of becoming a Realtair customer, could you please, Susan, put in the chat box and also into Facebook that it's being streamed, if you could actually put down the link. And yes, I am a supporter of Realtair and an ambassador. Mate, Matty, the main reason, listen, the main reason I was promoting price updates and pre-listing kits from another organisation. And I'm not going to say that there was anything wrong with them, but because I do a lot of work with realestate.com, Matty, right?
Yes, yeah, of course.
So what happened is the way it sort of integrated was so good. And then when Pete ran me through, I realised it was an ecosystem. It was like, Matty, you know how you go into the Apple ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
And things are on all your systems. They pop up, and wherever you are, you continue from where they are, and it pops up on your watch, and then you see it on there. You sort of enter that world.
Yeah,
and,
I know exactly what you mean.
You're in that Apple ecosystem too, aren't you?
iMessage to your iPad, to your iMac, to your phone, to your text, to your iTunes. I said, like I've got a Samsung phone as a backup, but I've just had it because I've had it for a while, and I go on it. Now I don't get messages and don't get all the same things, even though it's a cracking phone, but I can't get it into the system. So I know what you're saying. It's like you block, like you're so right. Everything just works like a Swiss watch in there. That's probably the best way.
And that's what Realtair does. It made it, and I know that you use it for your auctions. It blends in your auctions.
Yeah.
It blends in your price updates, your CMAs in there, filling out the agency agreement, signing of the contract. It's all done in that one system. Mate, Matty, how do you stay in touch day to day with what's happening with tech in real estate? And I want to touch on, before we leave, by the way, this event is sponsored by Realtair, the most innovative premier tech business that helps real estate agents list and sell more real estate. Why? Because it's tech done by real estate people, the brains of Pete Matthews.
No, I'd have to agree with that. Yeah.
Now Matty, I want to ask you, how do you stay in touch, like, with tech? And then the second question is this GPT, whatever they call it, artificial intelligence.
That's phenomenal.
What's your view on that, Matty?
Okay, well, first one, what I've had to do, Tom, because like obviously, being a founder of this business, I obviously get found to be the person that speak to for every single thing. And I've had to hand that to my chief operating officer, who is very clever, and he's been background real estate for 20 years, and in operation sides of businesses. So he is literally the filter for everything that comes through. And what we've done, we've just tried to uncomplicate things. As I said before, trying to keep things simple is hard, as you said before. But we've got our segmented, main operating systems to keep everything we look at it, is it going to make the agent's life easier? And if we haven't got it, we've got to look at it. But if we've got something, it's not about necessarily changing it if it's already working, because we spend so much time integrating, as you know. It's something's going to make the agent's life easier and help them create more value for their client and generate more revenue. We're going to look at it. That's the mantra from the board to our chief operating officer. Otherwise, you could spend your whole month just looking at it. Say, I want to come in and show you my system. I want to come in. I get 3 calls a day about it still. I've got this new tech. Everyone's got something new, and it's the first ever and all that. So I've had to just make a funnel straight to my COO for that. But in terms of that chat GP, my son actually showed me it originally, who's 24, and he showed me how, it operates. He saw it like months ago. He's actually had a background in IT, but he now works with me. So he's right into all this stuff. But it's phenomenal, Ty. I think it's definitely going to have a role to play in real estate. I'm not too sure. Again, as I said to you before, I don't think it'll replace the human touch, but I think what it'll do, it'll help us actually be more productive and quick. I don't know whether it will be able to pre-fill leases in time or how it might draw up a contracts and agency agreement. There'll be some way it'll come in and we'll be able to, speak to it and tell it to do, however it operates, tell it to do something for us like it's designed to do. But it's absolutely incredible.
Okay, so let's have a look here. That must have been the AI listening. Wow. Yeah, I heard a noise in the background, Susan. That was incredible. Matty, Susan, can I get you to put a quick poll? And I want to see this, Matty, because I put a post up yesterday on social media I'm absolutely convinced in Sydney. I think it's already bottomed, Matt, because like I've just noticed in the last couple of weeks, the results are better. Don't get me wrong. Like I'll give you a typical example. So can you please, Susan, the poll I want you to put down, do people think the market is better this year versus last year? Just that, buyer energy. Just don't complicate it. Do you think the market's better? What do you reckon, Matty? What do you think?
Tommy, I just did a wrap around my whole group. So I've got Perth, Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, Canberra, and Tassie, right now. They're the operating markets. And I look at the sales going through. I look at the clearance rates. The clearance rates so far this year for us have been very strong all the way through for the auction markets that we operate in. WA, not so much auction, but a lot of listings are starting to loosen up post. I think we'll definitely loosen up post Easter. The only thing I've noticed, though, I think one of the factors to look at, there is definitely less properties on the market. Looking at all the latest data, so I think that's definitely helped. I'm wondering if that's an artificial floor under the market being so strong. I think it could be, but that's just my personal opinion. But I think it's very healthy right now. I think we cleared 77% on Saturday. Tom, how did you go Saturday?
7 out of 11.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so similar.
But Matty, the strange thing is I did a house in 49 Alexander Avenue, Alexandria. And look, it's a marketplace where those houses were selling during the boom at 1.550.
Yeah.
Last year, they had dropped down to 1.2. Then all of a sudden, in the last couple of weeks, these properties are now selling for 1.350. So they're not back to where they were, but it appears that there's a few more buyers jumping in. Why are they jumping in? Potentially, you're right, Matty, lack of supply, and CoreLogic RP data clearly shows volumes are down, new listings are down. Obviously, that's a factor. The other factor, of course, could be, Matty, that we don't underestimate the average consumer. They're not stupid. I think they think that we're closer to the end of the rate rises than, like, it could be 1, it could be 3, it could be 2, but they think that we've had most of the rate rises now done.
I think so. It's interesting looking at your poll there, Tom and Susan, 50-50. Now, that's probably a broad, because you've got a lot of people here in all different parts of the country, fair to call. So I think
yes, 100%.
Yeah, so I think that could be, a blended average, whereas I do, but like some markets in parts of the country are different, probably not as strong as last year, and some are, but I think you sort of obviously focused your options mainly on the Sydney market. If you're looking at that, from your point of view, and I follow Melbourne and Brisbane very closely as well from the auction market. It's the lack of properties on the market. But Tom, don't underestimate too. I think a lot of people have made the executive decision that they're going to get re-rated. And you and I spoke about this when the first interest rate. Do you remember this conversation?
Yeah.
We were ahead of this game, you and I, way when the interest rates started going up. The very first rates, we said to each other, what's going to happen here is that a lot of these owners, these buyers are not going to have the spending power. Now, I think people that are approved right now, they're the ones that are entering the market to make sure they don't get re-rated and don't have the same buying power in another 3 months that they may not have.
Yeah, so 100%, Matty. 100%. I noticed that with buyers as well, Matty. Now, Matty, before we leave, I want to share a story with you, and it's a good way to actually finish up on Tech Tuesday with Realtor. So there's a gentleman that I'm good friends with, him and his wife. They live 3 streets away.
Yeah.
So listen to this story, Matty. They meet up with me at Grasshopper Cafe, where you and I have met many times. We sit down and they said to me, Tom, we want to quiz you on what you think a good marketing campaign is. So I have a copy with them. We're sitting down, piece of paper, drawing it up, real estate domain, I said to them, "Oh, what's your agent say?" They said, "Oh, we signed up with the agent and we've told him he's given us the options, but he's doing off market for about a week, and after the 1 week, he's putting it on the market." And I just said to him, "Oh, out of curiosity, how did you end up picking that agent over others?" I'm always curious. I always want to find out why does someone go with someone. And Matty, listen to what he said. He says, "Oh, mate, it was a flick of a coin. Actually, it was just lucky, We'd been sitting there that night thinking about we better sort of get it up and running, and get it up and running before Easter. And then, we were going over the paperwork, looking at it, and when we were going over it, the next morning, he goes, coincidentally, one of the agents rang us up, and I straight away thought to myself, is there any possibility that this guy has come from Real Tear? Because what happens is, when they're flicking through the document, the agent gets alerted, right?
Alert.
So I said to him, "Oh, right." I go, have you got what he given you? What proposal?" And he goes, "Oh, mate, it's on my phone." It ends up being the Real Tear proposal. So Matty, don't underestimate the power of timing when you actually, the window, when that window of opportunity is that they're in the zone. And a lot of people don't realize that Real Tear does that. It alerts you when they're looking at a specific page.
Well, that's right, Tommy. That's the new form of letterbox drop, if you want to look at it like that, isn't it? I think that's in it.
True.
That's how you look at it. Like, it's a new form of letterbox drop. So is social media. If you're on social media, just listed, just sold, auction invites on social media, that's the new form of letterbox drop. Why wouldn't you go to where people are looking 85% of their day, rather than try and get in their letterbox and through their lounge room? And that's just, virtually impossible these days. Everyone's on their phone. So why wouldn't we go to where they are?
Yeah, listen, hey, Matty, finish with this story, mate. I love you. There's a guy, his name's Alex Galanis.
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
Alex Galanis has gone into Hungry Grasshopper a few times as well, right? You ask him about that. So that's where I used to meet him for coaching. I'd meet him
really?
there.
Okay.
That's where I used to meet him for coaching, right? Anyway, cut a long story short, Matty, the guy's been working for a competitor of yours. He's on 60 grand a year. He's doing the best he can. He's actually, to be honest with you, he was on the verge of, look, he had no money. I mean, how can you have money when you're on 60 grand a year, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to drive a decent car. Right? Anyway, Matty, you tell me last week, this guy, within his first year of working with you, and it's specifically Ben Collier, who I still consider probably in the last 3 decades, I would say arguably in the last 3 decades, the best. I've got to watch what I say, because then I get people ringing me up. No, I'm the best. Okay, right. Arguably one of the best. What's he right? $11 million in fees?
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah.
11 million. So Alex Galanis, young kid, goes there, starts working for him. He's been averaging 60 grand a year for 3 years in real estate. And then in one weekend, last week, Matty, what did he make, Matt?
300,000.
$300,000.
310,000 that weekend.
That's his share. That's his share.
That's his personal share.
That's his money. His share. He's done that, 1 week. So the reality is, I spoke to him. I got to tell you, I was so happy because, sometimes in real estate, you get the view that good guys don't come first. Good guys get trodden on. He's a really good guy. He's not smug. Real estate's got a lot of smug people, right?
And
he's
Tom, you nurtured him to that point, and then when he found me, I interviewed him, and I thought there's something there, and I thought Ben and Danny Acox would be the two people to unearth the quality of him, and he started, and look, he's got some serious battery power, this kid. I rate myself around battery power and staying ability. He leaves me in his wake. He does it, whatever it takes. And I think that's on the back of you training him. I think you said to him, he's coming from behind the 8 ball. He's got to work harder than everybody. So I don't think anyone will ever outwork this kid for sure. He just needed the direction, like where do I go? What's the steps? And the clients love him, Tom, because he's not flashy. He's not schmug. He's not a smart ass. He's not wearing all the flashy gear and all that. He's not shoving it in your face. And clients love that. Big clients love that too, because he's working in probably one of the most salubrious markets in Australia, and it's cutthroat there. They'll spit you out in 5 minutes in that market that he's working in if they don't like you. And it's quite interesting. We all think we have to look and feel and do something different. And, he's a very fit guy. He does bodybuilding, as you know. And I think I said to him, when I first interviewed him, I said, mate, if you can look like that and I don't look like you, I said, let me tell you, I reckon that's really hard to look as good as you do. You're very fit, you're toned. And I said, does that require discipline? And he said, yeah, it does. I said, all you need to do is take that discipline into real estate. And he never put the two and two together. And then off he went to Collier and Acox, who are tough leaders. They're tough taskmasters. But if you spoke to him the other day, I don't think he's ever felt as nurtured in his life. And he's been thrown right in there to the deep end. And for, us to talk about him now buying his first property, I was like that excited,
I didn't know. So is he buying a property, Matty?
Yeah, he's now going to start to get finance and stuff.
I can't get over it. What a change.
Yeah.
Anyway, team, I want to let you know this has been Tech Tuesday, provided to you and underpinned by Realtair. If you aren't a Realtair client, nearly everyone is these days. If you aren't a Realtair client, go to that link, realtair.com/Tom Panos / go and click on that link. And there's so many things you can do. You can actually get free training sessions there. But Matty, I want to thank you for your time, because whilst I know that you're a happy Realtair customer and that you use Realtair, I'm always just overwhelmed that a guy that is running such a big. How many agents in your organisation across the country, Matty?
Just over 450 now, Tom.
Okay, so 450. There's always another one-on-one to do. There's always another recruitment meeting. There's always a hard conversation that you've got to have a few times. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
the fact that Matt Lahood has taken out close to an hour to share his knowledge again, who doesn't hold back. A lot of people, when I do interviews, they say to me, "Oh, Tommy, I'll give you some of the stuff, but the good stuff I just keep up my sleeve." You've always been an open book. You've always had the view.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
If I give stuff to people and they get a taste of it, they might want to actually get more of me, and then they might,
I think, Tommy, like a lot of people are giving a lot of stuff to me. I'm only as good as where I've worked. I've worked with some of the best brains in real estate, John McGrath and crew. You're only as good as, you got to remember where you come from. I think it's a big thing. People, forget where they came from in this business.
You worked like this with John for what, 2 decades?
Or 22 years I was there for. Yeah.
How many years you've been in real estate? Matty, how many years you've been in real estate?
33 from school. Yep.
Has real estate been good for you, Matty?
Incredible, Tom. I've created some lifelong friendships. I never viewed myself as a leader. I think I've told you this before. I was actually born by accident into leadership, and I still don't hold the title that comfortable, as you know. But the thing is, it wasn't about leadership for me. I was just I became, quite proficient at selling. And then other agents would start asking me what I was doing when I was like 22, 24, that gap. And then I joined Johnny when I was very young. And then other agents in there would say, what are you doing? Can I say, how are you getting the sales? How are you getting? And then just sort of, they said, can we come and work with you or follow you or come to your listing? So I'm a false leader, I guess, by default. And then everybody said, no, I want to be with you. Can we come with you? You come to our listings and we'll cut you in. And next minute, I know I'm running the business there. And next minute, so now then I have to learn how to actually lead, because, there's that old thing, lead without a title. The title doesn't, but a lot of people meet me today and they go, I didn't think you'd be like you are. Because I think people get a title and they change. And I think that's what you said before, and I was thinking about it, is, I learned everything off everyone else. The Tom Hopkins and those people in the day, they shared. Bob Bolins and Bob Wolf and, J Mac and all these people shared. So why would you want to, secrets have no value. Why would you want to hold back? I mean, good luck if someone can go and make an extra few sales on the back of what we said. Great.
Well said. Matty Lahood from the agency, thank you so much. To all our listeners and viewers, thank you for the biggest thing you can give us, attention. There are so many ways that you could be spending your time, the attention economy, and even if there's one person sitting here on Facebook or on Zoom, which we've had a lot more than that, it matters to us. Thank you so much. Matty Lahood, thank you so much.
Thanks again for everything you do, mate, and to your Apple ecosystem that you've got going is brilliant. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matty.